I'm nuts.
Say what?
I'm nuts.
And it's not just your nuts, bro.
Damn, calm down, macho man.
All right, so how long you had the car?
2 days.
When officers clash with famous celebrities, they usually deal with entitled brats who want a free pass because of their status. But the law is equal for everyone, and officers ensure that they get the required punishment for breaking the law. However, they have to handle plenty of drama to apprehend these celebrities and seal the deal. So, what happens when they have a run-in with famous Hollywood rappers? Let's take a look at 5 such cases in today's video. Our first case today takes us to Florida, where rapper Glock 9 was apprehended by the police for carrying weed and illegal firearms. Body cam footage showed officers approaching his vehicle after pulling him over because he'd disobeyed a stop sign. The officer kept it lighthearted and joked with him while asking for his license or any concealed weapons. He also took the car keys for safety. The officer soon smelled cannabis inside the vehicle and asked him if he had more illegal things with him. Glock 9 assured him that he didn't.
Mr. Smith, is there any more cannabis in this vehicle? You know it smells like it. I can smell it. You can smell it.
I smoked earlier, that's it.
That's it? Nothing else illegal in this vehicle? Okay, my man.
The officer checked his registration and other documents related to the vehicle, and then told him that his back window was slightly darker than what was allowed. He even politely asked him to get it redone.
So I'd advise you go into some window tint place, have them check it and see which ones you need to replace. I'm telling you now, the back windows are dark.
Before I got him put on, I told him legal tint. He said this was
You can tell any dealership legal tint. The problem is when you tell them that, they just want your money.
The officer then asked him to step out of the car so that he could check it thoroughly for illegal or unwanted objects. He propped him against the car and started clearing his pockets. And that's when he found something in there that Glock 9 never told him about.
I'm nuts.
Say what?
I'm nuts.
And it's not just your nuts, bro.
The officer now had no other option but to put handcuffs on him. He told Glock 9 that he didn't mind if he kept a little weed, and he should have just told him about it instead of trying to hide it.
You know I don't care about a little bit of weed, right? Why wouldn't you just be honest with me? If you lied to me once, I'm gonna just have this on here for our safekeeping. Sound good?
The officer then put on gloves and reached into his boxers to get the weed out.
All right, in your boxers?
Officers made him sit on the sidewalk so that they could check his car next. Since the car was new, the officer asked him how to pop the smaller center console without breaking it. He told him how to do it. One of the officers got a small cut trying to open it. Then they moved to the trunk of the car and found a bunch of shopping in there. They all belonged to expensive brands. Another officer opened the hood of the car and checked for hidden objects inside. And there, he found 3 weapons.
Yep, 1, 2, 3.
The officer pulled Glock 9 on his feet and placed him inside their vehicle. They detained him for hiding multiple weapons and not coming clean about them to the officers when they asked about it. The officer weighed the weed and discussed whether they should have the vehicle towed and then do a full search for other hidden weapons inside. He had around 40 grams of weed hidden inside his boxers. They suddenly discovered 2 random people in the parking lot on the other side of the street. They were recording the officers, possibly because they caught sight of Glock 9 and wanted to record the moment. The officers eventually decided to tow the car and explained Glock 9's rights to him.
Silent, do you understand? Anything you say may be used against you in court, do you understand? You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning, do you understand? Anything, if you cannot afford a lawyer and want one will be added for you before questioning without charge, do you understand?
The officer then confronted him about hiding the weed, but Glock 9 didn't have a specific answer to it.
You had hidden up on your nuts.
Oh. Cause I ain't even. That's. But nah, I ain't.
I mean, you understand I'm a guy too, so I know what nuts feel like, right?
The officer told him that he was carrying more weed than allowed, so that was a felony. He asked Glock 9 how many charges he already had against him, and he claimed that those were dropped years ago. But the officer reminded him that out of 2 charges, 1 was dropped, but he still had one in his name. He then told him that the officers had found weapons inside his hood, and one of them was illegal.
So I don't know which one of your boys hooked you up with a gun, but one of them's stolen. So that's not a good thing, all right?
When the officer asked if he wanted to talk about where he got those guns, he refused to speak. He asked if his mother could drive his car, but the officer informed him that it would be seized and he could get it out only after he was done with the rest of the procedures. He then closed the car door and took him to the police office. This is where the footage ended. Although Glock 9 tried to play cool and hide his guns, the officers eventually found it out. Now he had another conviction on him because of carrying extra weed and a stolen gun. Our next case took place in Miami in 2020. Jonathan Lindale Kirk, better known as DaBaby, rose to fame in 2019. He met with a promoter and had a show later that night. Surveillance footage collected from the streets showed him speaking to the promoter on the sidewalk. Apparently, he asked for advance money, which led to an altercation.
Basically, what happened was DaBaby met up with these guys, but he wanted his $20,000 up front. He was supposed to perform tonight. These guys said, well, we don't have it right now, I'll give it to you later.
But DaBaby wanted the money right at that moment. Arguments led to physical assault, and DaBaby didn't hesitate to attack the promoter. On top of that, he took his credit card and phone.
DaBaby didn't like that answer, beat him up. Then, allegedly, during the fight, DaBaby took his iPhone 7 and a credit card.
The surveillance camera showed the exact moment DaBaby started attacking the man. Although there was a tree between DaBaby, the victim, and the hotel, cameras captured the incident clearly enough for the cops to identify him later on. He was also seen attacking the promoter's friend who was with him there. When the hotel authorities alerted the officers, they came to the hotel and found DaBaby in the lobby. They informed him that he was being detained.
Okay, what's gonna happen was you're being detained, okay?
The officer described that they had received complaints against him, and DaBaby demanded to know what their allegations were.
Right now we have victims that have made allegations towards you.
Saying what? What allegations?
When the officer told him that he had robbed someone, he said that he was in possession of a large sum of money and didn't need to rob anyone.
Robbery. I got $300,000 right now. All blue hundreds. I'm not robbing nobody. I'm the number one artist in the country. Cut that out. Come on, bro. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
When the officer asked him if he needed a lawyer, he continued to say he didn't need one because he hadn't robbed anyone. He also threatened to sue them if they arrested or detained him without any proof.
Y'all getting sued, y'all put me in handcuffs by the robber. That's what's gonna happen.
When the officers didn't leave him alone, he started making phone calls to get help with the situation. One of the officers grabbed his phone and motioned at the other officer to come and detain him. DaBaby promised to keep the phone in his pocket and asked the officer why they were taking him away, to which he replied that he had been identified when attacking people in the hotel surveillance camera. And then he grabbed his arm and started to take him away.
Yeah, let y'all do what y'all do. Be careful with my thumb, it's broken. Be careful with my thumb. You see my skull?
Officers then put handcuffs on him and took him to the vehicle. DaBaby cooperated with them, however. He kept asking them to loosen the handcuffs. The officers helped him. One of them searched his body while the other checked his belongings for any illegal objects. And then, they put him inside the police vehicle. And that's when he started throwing tantrums.
Bro, relax. Damn, what's up? Thank you, sir. Damn, calm down, macho man. Calm your ass down.
The officers then started for the police station, and that's where the footage ended. Although he tried to deflect the allegations saying that he earned millions and didn't rob anyone, the hotel surveillance camera helped the officers detain this entitled man. This next case takes us to Clayton County, Georgia. In July 2018, officers followed a 2014 Porsche 911 to a gas station. The car was blaring music. Once it stopped, the officers approached the driver and asked him to turn off his car engine. They asked to see his documents, but he refused to cooperate, claiming that he was famous and knew his rights.
Yep. All right, you got your ID on you, sir?
Yeah, but why I'm being pulled over?
Well, you can't get your ID first, sir.
Why I'm being pulled over? I know my rights.
Sir.
I'm famous too, so
Okay,
I
that's
know
fine.
my rights.
Okay,
I'm
that's
not gonna
fine.
give you my ID till you tell me why I'm pulled over.
Well, sir.
The officer said that he knew who he was, but asked him to reconfirm his identity anyway. When he asked for his ID once again, he refused to give it and said he was calling his lawyer.
From there. You said you're famous. Who are you?
I'm Offset, Migos.
Who's that?
Migos, Offset.
Okay.
I'm not giving you my ID.
Oh, sir, I need your ID, please.
I'll just call my lawyer.
Okay, that's fine. I need your ID.
Offset said he didn't have any ID, But the officer was adamant and kept asking for it. When Offset told him that he wouldn't hand over his ID without knowing why he was stopped by the police, the officer told him that he'd pulled Offset over because of his window tint.
Please. Okay, sir. I couldn't see through the back window. That's too dark. All right, can I get your ID, please?
Offset claimed that the officers were picking on others and now bothering him as well. At that point, he was already on a call with his attorney. He told Offset to show his ID to the officer, and he obliged. This is where it got interesting. Reportedly, the ATF had already asked the Clayton County Police Department to conduct a traffic stop on Offset's car because he was carrying illegal weapons and weed. Offset was unhappy and kept arguing about being pulled over, but the officer tried his best to calm him down before going forward with the rest of the procedures.
I'm trying to be calm with you. You please be calm with me, and we will work this out, work this ticket out, all right? And we can both go on about our day. You know what I'm saying?
Offset said that he'd had the car for only 2 days. His girlfriend called, and the officer jokingly asked him to cut the call so that they could carry on. And then Offset showed him his social media account to prove that he was a famous rapper. The officers asked if he had firearms in the car and claimed it was just a safety protocol, to which Offset said he didn't. The officers ran his information through their system and found his details. And then they asked Offset and the person in his passenger seat to walk out of the car.
Look, man, I'm asking nicely, please. Please. Please step out the car.
Offset and his friend obliged. Officers again asked him if he had any weapon on him and searched his body. They took his money pouch and placed it inside the car. The officer took him to his car and explained that he could smell marijuana inside his car, which is why he was interrogating him. Offset had lit a cigarette at this point and looked fed up.
What is going on, bro? This is
Listen
crazy.
to I asked you earlier if there's any weapons in the car. All right, the reason I asked you that is because I smelled the odor of marijuana coming out your car. All
No,
right,
you don't.
sit down.
Oh, my God.
Sit down.
The officer also explained that his passenger had a weapon on him, which he'd clearly failed to mention. Offset claimed that it was licensed, but the officer said that he'd still lied about it, and it made all the difference.
And when I asked, partner right there has got a gun on him.
You got a license, too.
Okay, if he's got a license. But see, that's why I asked, man. I can ask that for my safety and your safety.
Offset tried to make the officer speak to his lawyer, but they refused. The officer then said that since they'd smelled the marijuana quite strongly in the car, they were obligated to search it. He couldn't find a way to stop them. The officer found firearms inside.
Yo, hot in this fucker, man. Hey, it's hot.
The officers also found $107,000 in cash inside his money pouch. The officers confiscated the 2 guns they found in his car. They also found some weed.
Yeah, he's got weed. He had weed and a gun on him.
Okay. Do we know if he's wanted yet?
No, not yet. We're working.
When they eventually found his records, the officers arrested him. Offset claimed that the gun he was being arrested over was licensed. The officers checked his pockets and found money and some other small tidbits. As the officers pulled him inside their car, Offset threw the worst tantrum and started calling them names.
Fucking dumbass. Nigga, you need to focus on working on some crime. You don't tell me what I am. I wouldn't have had that card if I was a fucking felon.
His tantrums continued until they reached the police station, but it's safe to say that he would receive the treatment he truly deserved. Our 4th case happened in Florida. Officers pulled over a car and asked the driver to step out in August 2023. The driver cooperated. The officers then asked him to put his arms above his head so that they could search and handcuff him. The man was none other than the famous rapper Tekashi 6699. He asked the officers why he was being detained, and they told him about a traffic ticket.
For what though?
I guess you received a ticket or something if you didn't pay.
I never received a ticket.
Step forward for me. Step forward.
Officers checked his pockets thoroughly and found a bundle of cash in one. Tekashi asked his friend to give the money to someone called Eileen and also notify his brother where he would be taken. The officers told him that he was being taken to the Palm Beach County Jail. Then, they put him inside their vehicle. Meanwhile, the other officers searched his car. One of the officers came and told Takashi that he couldn't drive this car because it didn't have a license plate. But he claimed that he didn't put it on due to some safety protocol. The officer was confused and asked him what safety protocol he was talking about.
Safety protocol. People take pictures of of the license plate, they run it, and end up at my house.
The officer asked him if the DMV cleared it, and Takashi confirmed that they did. She then asked for valid papers that could prove his point, but the rapper wasn't very cooperative and kept saying that he'd shown her the license plate, and that was all she needed.
You got the paperwork for that?
Oh my God.
No, I'm saying you got the paperwork for that?
It's probably, it's in my house, but hold on. I showed you the license plate, right? Mm-hmm. So, that's how, once I show you the license plate, I'm good. I'll show you the license plate.
Takashi continued to argue and claim that he had the license plate, but he just didn't have it on the car. When the officer told him she'd been on this job for quite a while now, and he wasn't supposed to drive his car without the license plate, he argued that he hadn't even left his community and wasn't practically driving the car out in the world. The officer pointed out that he was driving on the wrong side of the road.
Wait, I haven't even left my house, you know that, right? Like, I'm still in my community. I'm in my gated community, right? I'm in my house. They driving it. My house is 4 houses down. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I showed you registration.
You're
I showed
saying
you
you could drive on
insurance.
the wrong side of the road and pass cars because you're in your neighborhood?
When Tekshi still wouldn't admit that he was doing something wrong by not putting on his license plate, the officer told him they'd speak about it later and closed the door. The rapper's brother Oscar arrived, and he gave him some instructions and told him where he could find him. And then the officers were off to the police station. But the drama didn't end there. While sitting in the car, Takashi once again asked the officers why he was arrested.
So what you said is I'm charged with no suspended license.
Your license are suspended, but the warrant is for
I still don't get it.
The officer told him that although he had his car registered, removing the license plate was not allowed. Just before the video cut off, Takashi was seen yawning and feeling all relaxed, and he continued his chit-chat with the officers.
Oh, son. Not that it really matter, because at the end of the day, it don't matter. But, like, why y'all working inside of a community anyway?
because we didn't get traffic complaints.
Although his relaxed demeanor said that he didn't really have much to worry about, he just added one more charge to his records, and the officers would definitely ensure that he never repealed it again. Our final case today takes us to Florida once again. Famous rapper Bill Kahan Capri, also known as Kodak Black, was parked at a parking lot and approached by the Florida Highway Patrol in July 2022. He was sitting inside a purple Dodge Durango. Kodak Black also had another person sitting in the passenger seat. The officer asked for their IDs. They got all hyped up, and the officer asked them to relax and showed the IDs.
Your ID. You don't got ID?
When the officers asked if they had any weapons in their car, Kodak Black said that they didn't. The officer quickly ran their details against their system. The officer then smelled weed in the car.
Okay. That's it. It smells like weed.
I don't smoke weed. I swear to God.
There's no packs, nothing in the car?
I ain't nothing. Search me.
The officer asked him why he'd pulled over here because he'd just driven out of a gas station. Kodak Black said the officer perhaps confused him with someone else, and that he was parked there because he was running an errand. But the officers said that he approached him because his windows were tinted beyond the acceptable shade.
You got a blacked out car. Is this car registered to you?
Okay. This is my mom's car.
Okay.
I'm trying to get a toothbrush from the store. If you go to that store, you see they don't have no toothbrush.
That's all your boy home?
The man apparently had a leg injury that limited his movement. He then started arguing with the officer, who told him that he believed him and that he would help him get his toothbrush once his partner arrived. The officer asked for the license, which he failed to show. The officer reminded him that he needed to carry his license if he wanted to drive.
You gotta ride around with your license. I don't know why you don't got your license. That's a no-no. And then you got no license, you don't got ID on you either?
That's my look out.
You don't carry ID?
After his partner arrived, the officer went around the car and collected information from the person sitting in the passenger's seat. The officer then decided to detain Kodak Black just for safety and protocol.
I'm not gonna arrest you on bullshit, all right? This is just for the time being. You're just being detained. Come on, fish away.
The officer put handcuffs on him and checked his pockets. They then placed him inside their car. One officer asked Kodak Black if he could call someone, or if someone could come and drive the car, because his license was revoked and the passenger had a suspended one. But Kodak Black asked to let go and wanted to drive the car to his house.
You're on a revoked license, dude. I can't, and he has a suspended license.
The officers went back to his car and searched it. They found nothing. The officer went to him and told him that they weren't going to hassle him for anything. He didn't have a license, so he would receive a ticket for that, and that's all. The officer then took off his handcuffs, took him to his car, and read the ticket.
This is a driving while suspended or revoked with knowledge, right? So you gotta go to court for it. They're gonna give you a court date to that address that you gave me at some time. Whenever you get the court notice, just go to it, all right? And then...
Officers took his signature and fingerprints whenever needed, and that's where the footage ended. Although the interaction was peaceful, the officers successfully managed to hand him a ticket for not having his license. We hope that he never walks out of his house without his license again. So, what did you think of this case? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.